Bry's Comics.
Welcome to Bry's Comics. Today we have a super special video for you guys for two reasons. One, we've got an awesome giveaway, and two, we've got special guest Matt Forge representing the Pressable Defects in the house. Say what's up, Matt.
Bry, thank you, dude. I can't even tell you how excited I am to be on the channel. I see what you're doing. You guys are doing great videos over here. Super excited to be on the channel representing Pressable Defects. I can't thank you enough for putting this together.
Well, I'm excited that you're here. You guys, if you don't know the Pressable Defects, this is a channel that I go to for spec information and for ideas for books to pick up for my personal collection. I've pulled the trigger on a couple of big boy books after watching some of their videos. The content that they put out is not them just running to the mic every time there's a new spec book that comes across that hot app that we all know and love. The specs that they talk about are books that they're investing in, and that's what I like about it, because I do the same thing. I only talk about books on my channel that that I can get behind with my own wallet, and I know that's what they do. I'm super glad that you're here today for this video. And before we go any further, we got to talk about this sweet giveaway that we're doing. We've got two hot spec books that you can win. This one here, all new, all different Avengers #9, second appearance and origin of Nadia Pym as the new Wasp, CGC 9.8. It's kind of hard to see here on screen with the glare, but this is just an epic, beautiful Alex Ross cover with the Vision there holding his hand out and Nadia coming out of the hand. Just a beautiful cover, and their spec behind it. And in addition to that, as you're going to see later on in this video, we're also throwing in Avengers West Coast #62, first full appearance of the Timekeepers. Beautiful near mint copy. The colors on this thing just absolutely pop. It's not a 9.8, but it is near mint. And when I saw that we were going to talk about this book in the video, I was like, oh, I have a copy of that. I should give it away. I should give it away. And then I looked at it and I was like, holy crap, that's kind of a nice copy. Maybe I should just submit this. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to give it away. I'm going to give it away. I've been blessed with some specs that have paid off recently, and so it's my pleasure to give it away. All you have to do to win: subscribe to both channels, comment on both videos, and like both videos. They're going to drop a video at the exact same time over on their channels. Link down in the description. Just sub them up, comment, and you're in it to win it. And I mean, you're going to get incredible content in addition to a chance to win two incredible books. There's no better reason to sub up two channels than that right there.
That's it.
So
what a guy. He's giving these away. I can't say enough. Thank you enough, man. I really appreciate the giveaway and having me on.
So let's start them off with these two Powerman specs.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh man, I am excited about these. I've been talking about these for a little while on the Pressable Defects channel. First up, we got Powerman #48, guys. And the spec behind this is the fact that Luke Cage and Iron Fist, this is the first time they team up, okay? So before I tell you why that's important, I'm going to talk about the second book there, and that's #54, but the name actually changes to Powerman and Iron Fist. And this is the first time they actually use the title for themselves, Heroes for Hire, okay? Guys, we know the Netflix version of Marvel Entertainment there, they had the Defenders, you had Luke Cage, you had Iron Fist. Now, there's a lot of rumors that both of those characters are coming back, hopefully with a different actor for Iron Fist. I'm sorry, I didn't like him. You know, I liked who they have for Luke Cage, Mike Coltier or Coulter, I think is his name, or Colst. I can't remember his last name. You guys know who I'm talking about. But there is a rumor from Kevin Feige that he is talking about doing a Heroes for Hire Disney Plus show, guys. And if we just saw what's starting to unfold with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, they think they have like a winner with the buddy, the buddy series, the good cop, bad cop, or the buddy, the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think they're going to do something similar here, especially with kind of current events, right? Think about current events right now, what's happening in the world. I think this could be a home run of a series. When I heard the rumor, I instantly believed that it's something I even spoke about before I heard the rumor, because I do believe that this is a series that's going to happen. So let's talk about some numbers, because I'm so excited. I'm just rambling. All right, guys. So for the Powerman 48, this book is I don't want to say it's high, but people are on it already. Raw, $25 to $35. That's an easy investment all day. A 9.6 just recently sold for $130. So I still think that's well within reasonable investment range. The 9.8 starts to creep up towards three to 400. So that might be a little bit too deep for some people. I think a nice raw copy, that's easy money. If not, it's a great book to have in the PC. And the Powerman and Iron Fist 54, raws go from anywhere from 15 to 25 bucks. So an even easier buy. All right. I do believe the 48 is the better book here, but why not get them both? A 9.8 for the number 54 just sold $155. So these are still flying a little bit under radar. They've peaked up a little bit in the last 6 months, but guys, I'm telling you, great books to have.
It's funny that you're talking about numbers like that, because when I saw these two specs, I got super excited about them as well. What I like about these two covers together, when you see them both here on the screen, is in the first one here on 48, you have Cage bringing the building down on top of Iron Fist, and then the next one over here, he's like, okay, we're going to team up. Let's do this together. But that second one, I am all over this Powerman Iron Fist 54 because of that cover. I'm a cover lover, and those deep red colors, the two of them displayed like that on the cover. I mean, that is some incredible art. I actually just went and picked this up in a 9.8. I paid $175. I know the most recent sale was $155, but that was a month ago. Okay. Yeah. We're in a different world now. I mean, a month ago, I wish I could pay a month ago's prices today. I mean, I would buy so many books. So it was $199 out the door with fees, taxes, shipping, everything. And I thought, man, for under $200, I get this beautiful Bronze Age book. I'm super excited about them as well. Great picks. Up next, we have Canto number 2. So if you guys have been sleeping under a rock and you haven't heard about Canto, most people have already heard about Canto at this point. A 6-issue limited series run. This was picked up by Jada and Will Smith's studio, Westbrook Studios, for an animated feature. And if they do this right, this book has picked up such a huge fanfare just on the comics alone. If Jada and Will Smith Studio does this right, expect an entire new slew of collectors and fans to come into the market. Now, that first issue number 1, there was only a little over 6,000 copies ordered by retailers, and a huge percentage of those had defects from manufacturing defects. So a 9.8 for issue number 1, I think is surpassing $1,200 now, which is a huge feat for an independent publisher like IDW on a brand new book. I mean, they only sold 6,000 copies out, as pre-orders, but for now that book to be fetching $1,200 and a 9.8 is quite the feat for a small publisher like IDW. So this second issue is the second appearance of Canto, and if you thought 6,000 copies was a small print run, try 4,500 for issue number 2. 4,500 copy print run. And it has potential there to be an iconic long-term classic cover for a Canto series. Just such a beautiful cover right there. People are fast asleep on this issue. I just picked up a whole bunch of copies for cover price. And then people started to catch on. Just last week, I got them for cover price. Now they're selling. There's some on eBay. I didn't buy all of them. All right, you guys. There's still some. There's still some on eBay for around $15. I was gonna buy them all, but I wanted to give you guys a chance to get some too, because what kind of spec video would that be if I'm mentioning specs? I just went and bought all the copies. So I left some for you guys over there on eBay. But if you don't buy them for $15, I will, because people are starting to catch on and starting to list them for around $60 to $80. I think I think it is a $75 book all day, especially, I mean, we're in the early stages of this. When the show is released, if they do it right, man, this is a great spec.
You know what? It's funny because I have 1 or 2 copies of number 2. I bought them off the rack. And I remember having number 1 in my hand when it released and putting it down.
Did you put it back?
And I'm kicking myself for it. But this is an amazing pick because if you take a look at the market today, I hit every number on the head. The number 1's going insane. The print run on number 2 is even smaller. So people are going to start buying up number 2 in droves. And if the show goes right, this in a 9.8 is going to start pushing, $700 and $800. So, and then the number 1 is going to be, $1,500, $1,800. So great pick. There's not much else to say. You covered it all, my man.
We got a two-parter for you next year.
Yeah, that looks familiar there, right? That West Coast Avengers. But let's talk about Thor first. So these kind of go hand in hand. First cameo / first full appearance. So Thor 282, 1979. First cameo of the Timekeepers. You kind of just see the back of their heads. They're three figures. So you don't know who they are at the time, but you later figure out who they are. And then we have Avengers West Coast number 62, and that is the first full appearance. You see who they are, you see their faces, and they say who they are of the Timekeepers. So why are these important? In the Loki trailer, we got three statues, and we got three big figureheads behind kind of what looked like kind of like a tribunal or of judges of some sort during the trailer. And those three heads represent the Timekeepers. They look just like they do in the comics. So unless they're completely retconning it, we will at least get mention of the Timekeepers. And the Thor books go for about $10 to $15 raw. That's an easy pickup. And honestly, you could probably find it for $1 or $2 in a back bin. And the Avengers West Coast 62 goes for about, people are catching on to that one because now people are putting two and two together. Those are going for about $15 to $25. And that's a 1990 book. So people are picking up that first full appearance because they realize that what we saw in the trailer were the Timekeepers. Now it's just a matter of how important they're going to be to the storyline.
$15 to $25 for that West Coast 62, or free 99 if you smash like, subscribe. And I mean, look at the content that you're getting that goes with it as well, and you're entered to win that spec book right there. This is the type of content that you can expect from the Pressable Defects. Just all of this info and data that is just absolutely phenomenal. So smash like, subscribe to both channels. You're in it to win that book. All right, up next we have Incredible Hulk number 449, and this is the first appearance of the Thunderbolts. Now, the reason this is heating up so much right now, and actually the price is higher than it's ever been for this book, which is not saying much in today's market, no. Right? But I still think it's a good time to buy this book because it seems more likely now than ever that they are introducing the Thunderbolts into the MCU, and people are speculating that the Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be used to introduce the team. We already had a bunch of characters introduced in prior Marvel stuff, and so that's why this makes it onto the list. So the Thunderbolts were rumored to be in development for the MCU since 2019. Okay. And so there's a lot of other spec books that go along with the team, and I might have to just do an entire video on that because it's too much to get into here. But this is definitely the key to own for the Thunderbolts because it's their first appearance. They have taken other forms with other team members, but this is the key to own. Prices are quickly getting out of hand for this. 9/8 are clearing $600-700, which is crazy for this book, but expect that to be eclipsed if there's any kind of announcement. I would go a raw copy route and try to get a nice raw copy and submit it myself for this book.
I love talking with people that think the same way as me. Raw copy is definitely the route right now. This, like Bryce said, this is at an all-time high, which is crazy. The fact that it only happened in about the last 2 weeks. I think this is a super safe bet that we get Thunderbolts. This market's so tough right now, Bri. It's like, do I pay $700 for a 9/8? I think I like your route of going the raw copy, trying to grind out that 9/8. I think that's what I would do too.
So here's another option. If the $700, if you're thinking about pulling the trigger on $700, but it seems a little too steep. This book was released in 1997. Okay, so there are newsstand copies of this flying under the radar. You can pick up a newsstand copy that's listed just as regular copy, where it's clear that the seller doesn't know it's a newsstand. So if you can find a newsstand copy of this for $700 or for a regular CGC 9/8 price, there's your profit right there. And it's not impossible because the little barcode box down in the corner just doesn't say direct edition. The newsstand copy looks very similar, and a lot of people still haven't picked up on the newsstand direct edition difference.
I mean, you're giving away. You can't give away all the secrets, Brian. Now everybody's going to be picking up newsstands instead of me and you. I'm just kidding. Good. That was really good info. A lot of people don't realize that.
Hit him with Avengers number 10.
Guys, this kind of ties into my last pick. This is the first appearance of Immortus. Okay, who is Immortus? You might know him better as Kang the Conqueror, or Ramatut, or even Nathaniel Richards. He's got a ton of aliases. He's traveled all over the time, all over the multiverse, all over different time periods. He's a time traveler. So, guys, early Avengers, 1964, Avengers number 10. This book is so under the radar. It has popped up a little bit. We've talked about this on Pressable Defects. It was part of our cold keys. So it seemed to gain a little bit of steam after that. And actually, people started realizing with the Kang, I guess it's kind of a confirmation, right, Brian, that they kind of confirmed that character is coming to the MCU.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors confirmed for Ant-Man number 3 to play Kang.
There you go. So people are starting to make the tie together to Kang's other aliases. So Immortus has to do with timekeepers. Okay, so since we brought the timekeepers up and we kind of got somewhat of confirmation that they are at least associated with Loki, I think Immortus is definitely coming to the MCU. Why is he important? He was put in charge of Limbo. Okay, what they known as Limbo by the timekeepers. He's in charge of the time period from 3000 BC to 4000 AD. So right in our time period. And he basically just makes sure that time stays, time keeps running. He's not really a villain, even though he does villainous things at times. He's kind of moves pieces around to keep things going. And like I said, of course, there is times where what he's doing looks like, oh, this guy's a villain, but he's more than that. So I think with the amount of time travel that we're going to start to see, with the stuff that we're going to start to see in Loki, especially I think that's going to be the kickoff of multiverse and time travel and things like that. And the fact that Kang has been confirmed, I think it's definitely worth picking up Immortus's first appearance because it's number one, it's Avengers 10 and it's super undervalued. And if he does pop, this book is going to absolutely explode. Quick price right now. This one's kind of all over the map. A 7.5 just sold for $355 for a Silver Age top 10 Avengers book. Like that sounds like nothing, but people I think are starting to catch on because a 3.5 just sold for $200. So that's not a huge price gap from a 7.5 to a 3.5. It's only $155. So clearly people are starting to catch on. So you're going to start to see the erratic pricing. That's what happens right before a book really starts to grow like exponentially. So, and if this character shows, sky's the limit.
Undervalued keys in today's market are ghosts. They're so hard to find. And, I've always had Avengers 10 and below on my PC list. It's like Avengers 10 and below, any one of those books is going in the PC. Like eventually they will all be there. To find one that undervalued, uncommon, and to have the spec potential behind it is perfect. This is the type of book that I like to pick up for the PC, just not to flip, and just with that added bonus of one day it's a lottery ticket. It could be worth quite a bit more. So
it's a win-win, right? Because if it never shows up, this is an amazing book. Like I've had this in my PC for like 2 years now, and it may never leave. I mean, obviously, if it really skyrockets, maybe. I think I have a 7. You can't lose with this book. Like Brian put it perfectly. It's a great PC book, no matter what.
All right, you guys. Now, this last book, Mighty Avengers number 1. This is from Volume 2, the 2013 series. All right, make sure if you're picking this up that you're picking up the right volume because there's been 2 volumes of Mighty Avengers. This is the first appearance of Monica Rambeau as Spectrum. And Monica Rambeau first appeared as Captain Marvel in Spider-Man Annual number 16. And that book has just skyrocketed since WandaVision. And Monica Rambeau originated as Captain Marvel, then went on to Pulsar, then Photon, and finally Spectrum. So her current moniker in the Marvel Universe is Spectrum. And Monica Rambeau was introduced to the MCU in WandaVision as Monica Rambeau. But what blows my mind that I can't wrap my head around is they did not give her superhero name. And so what this book has been on a crazy ride for the past 3 or 4 months. It started as a back issue dollar bin book, definitely cover price or less. Then when there was even the littlest bit of spec about her coming as Spectrum, it jumped to about $25, and now it's back down to around $15 to $20 for a near mint raw copy. With all of the heat has kind of gone away from WandaVision, now that the show's wrapped up, most people have seen it. There's not a lot of attention on this book. So in WandaVision, we get Monica Rambeau's origin of her superpowers. Okay, spoiler alert: if you haven't seen the series of WandaVision, we're about to give away a little bit right here. But she goes back and forth through the Hex Dome several times. It changes her molecular DNA, and she gets superpowers. And we get to see the world through her eyes for the first time. And the only word that pops into your mind when you see the world through her eyes is spectrum. That's the first thing that popped in my head. I got 100%. Spectrum. It's spectrum when I saw it. And the thing about it is that they haven't officially named her. And the reason that I say that's the first word that pops into your mind is because when she sees all the energy fields of things and the color spectrum that goes with them. The reason this is important is because it will play a role on the value of this book. If Monica comes and is confirmed for the MCU as Spectrum, this book is going to skyrocket. I mean, it's going to go. She has already been a fan favorite from WandaVision, and she has long-term potential for the MCU. She's already confirmed for Captain Marvel 2, and she has close ties to the Avengers, so she could easily pop up in any Avengers movie down the road. And the fact that she's a fan favorite, she has a bright future for the MCU. So I was just wondering, I'll throw it over to you, Matt. Like, do you have any idea why they didn't give her superhero name?
I think it's a cliffhanger, right? I mean, they left us with a lot of cliffhangers. I think that they did everything they did in that series, I think was purposeful. I think they knew what would happen with fan theories. We've talked about this a lot on our channel as well. We're strongly behind Spectrum as the moniker that she'll take on in the MCU eventually. It's what she is in the comics right now. They just had she was a guest appearance in Symbiote Spider-Man, I believe, and another comic as well. So it'd be kind of weird to have her in current comics as one name, but yet in the MCU as another. Her mother was named Photon already. I know that's what most people are predicting her name will be because they've seen that name on the placard and the plane. But why have the same name as her nickname as her mother? I feel like Rye has it right on the head. She's going to be Spectrum in the MCU. As to, like I said, going back to as to why, I think they're just messing with us, to be honest with you. Super undervalued book. You definitely want to keep an eye out for some incentive variants because the 1 in 50, I think, is the one, because the 1 in 100 has like a Lego edition. It's a higher ratio, but it's kind of a stupid cover. The 1 in 50 is a really nice cover. I think it's a Hans cover, and she's on the cover, just like she is here on cover A. A lot of cool covers for this one. There's a Deadpool cover. So this book's not a secret anymore. I used to be able to pick these books up in back issue bins and off eBay for nothing, but people are catching on now. So, but this is a great pick. I think you're spot on.
Yeah, that 1 in 50 is a Brian Hitch incentive variant, and you brought up a really good point, because when you're going for incentive covers like this, you definitely want to make sure that the spec character is on the cover if possible, right? So it's an interesting situation where I think the 1 in 50 will go for more than the 1 in 100. I think there's also a 1 in 150. And then the 1 in 200, I believe, is the Deadpool party sketch variant. So it's the Deadpool variant, but it's sketch version. That would be the money book for this. It's got Deadpool, and it's the same thing here that you see on the screen, except it has Deadpool, and then there's a sketch version. So that's an interesting point that you brought up. But imagine she comes to the MCU. She's given the moniker Spectrum, and this is her first appearance as Spectrum. I mean, that the money book is always going to be Amazing Spider-Man Annual 16. I mean, and this is what we talked about over on your channel, is that the market kind of dictates this thing. Sometimes it's the character's first appearance with the new moniker that's the money book. Other times it's their first full appearance in general that's the money book. In this situation, I think Amazing Spider-Man Annual 16 is going to be the money book forever, as Monica Rambeau's first appearance in general. But let's talk about future values of this book. if she comes to the MCUS spectrum and she's a fan favorite, what's this book worth in a CGC 98? Is it a $400 book? Is it a $500 book? Imagine her on the big screen.
Yeah, that's what I think. Cover A, 9.8. I could see it being 400. Why not?
So this is a book you can pick up raw right now for $20, $25 on eBay near mint. Get after it, guys. I definitely went hard. I went hard enough. I got enough myself.
Yeah, me too.
As you guys can see, this is the type of content that you can expect from the channel over at the Pressable Defects. Just the background info, the detailed stuff that you probably just didn't know about spec books. Incredible content. Highly encourage you guys to go sub them up just for the content. But in addition to that, as we already mentioned, you get entered to win these two amazing spec books, all new, all different Avengers #9, second appearance and origin of Nadia Pym as the new Wasp, beautiful Alex Ross cover, CGC 9.8. And one of the spec books that we talked about in this video, no mid-grade copies for this one. This is a near mint copy of Avengers West Coast, number 62, first full appearance of the Timekeepers. You get both these books. All you have to do is subscribe to both channels, comment on both videos, and leave a like, and you're in it to win it. Matty Forrest, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a blast. We're going to have to do this again.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, man. It's a pleasure. Guys, if you're a defect and you came over from my channel, make sure that you're subbing up Price Comics, because he's doing great spec stuff all the time. You know, we like the spec stuff. We try to space it out a little bit. Bry's doing it. He's giving it to you all the time. He's got great picks. He's got guests coming on. I love his videos. They're entertaining, great, full of information. You just saw, you know, and like I said earlier, I love talking to people that kind of have that same thought process as me, because it just, you know, you're on the right track. And we've shared some stuff off camera that we both kind of were in agreement with. It's always nice to have somebody else kind of have the same thought process as you, because then you know you're kind of on the right track. So please, guys, sub up Bry's Comics. Bry, thank you so much for having me on. Thanks for putting this together. And of course, thank you for the giveaway. This was great. We're gonna have to do it again.
Thank you so much, and thank you guys for sticking with us to this part of the video. We'll catch you over on the Pressable Defects if you haven't seen it already. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bry's Comics.